Hey, what's up, everybody? BDF44 coming at you another video. All right, so something must have happened in San Antonio. I really don't know, but it seems to me they're hell bent on moving Dejounte Murray out of town. His contract is only what, $15 million a year for 3 years. If that's a really good contract for the player that he's been, something must have happened. And they're not talking about it because it's the Spurs, and if it were the Lakers, it would be the biggest talk of the town. The fact that they're trying to trade a 26-year-old point guard who just made his first All-Star team at a price tag that's much lower than a lot of players who play at his level. I really do not understand this at all. I am lost, and it had to be something happen, fight or something personal, something happened. So, with that being said, I hear that the New York Knicks are trying to add Dejounte Murray to the Jalen Brunson vision. And I like that vision a lot if they're able to get certain things in place to make the team better around those two. If you think you're going to handle business with just those two and then Julius Randle and pretty much have to trade everything else, that's not going to get it done. You are not going to be good enough to do anything in the Eastern Conference. So I like Dejounte Murray and Jalen Brunson as a backcourt, but those are two max contracts. So you're going to be building the rest of your team somehow. I don't know what happens with RJ Barrett in this situation. Maybe he goes to San Antonio. Obviously, Julius Randle would need to be shipped out. But, maybe you got Obi Toppin on a rookie contract, so that's helpful. You got Quickly on a rookie contract, so that's helpful. Problem is, if I'm San Antonio, I want both of them. So it's like, I don't know. The Knicks have 7 first-round picks overall that they can offer. Obviously, they're not giving them all up. But what I'm saying is that's what their treasure chest looks like right now. They got their picks. I would consider, based on how they're building and how questionable it is they're building, not giving up too many picks. I'd try to keep probably about 5 of those. Because they're building at a risk. Whether they have great conviction or not, you have to respect the fact that everybody else is telling you you're building at a risk. So you should at least consider that when unloading future assets. So that's how I look at their situation. I don't hate that, but I just don't know if the vision is complete. Now, look, if you tell me you're going to put Ayton on top of that, Ayton, Dejounte Murray, and obviously Jalen Brunson, I'm starting to get a little excited, but I still think that, RJ Barrett's a 30-point scorer. You kind of want to keep him hanging around. Wings are at a minimum. And I'm looking at the situation. The reason why Julius is a part of it is because I honestly don't think you're going to be able to get rid of that contract unless you give away some picks to do that. His contract, you would do better letting him come in this year and trying to see if he can have a bounce-back season after last year, so his contract value can get back to where it needs to be to trade it for something reasonable, because right now it's looked at as a salary dump if you try to move it now. And I don't think Julius is going to play like that for the rest of his career. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to have another all-star season like he did before, shooting 50% from the three or nothing like that. But somewhere in between that, you could probably expect a pretty good year out of him. So, yeah, I'd start the season with him. But it depends on their vision. It depends on their vision. And if they can unload the contract, then they probably should do that just off the strength of their situation. But yeah, look, putting those two together is great if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing and building the rest of the team. I personally think that looking at their situation, I would prioritize Quickly and Toppin a bit more and be trying to shave salary to assure I can pay them. And then try to look to see if I can acquire something that fits that timeline as to which I could then start building through the draft. I guess that's more like how I see it for the Knicks. Play it a little safer. Take advantage of the fact that you guys have always sucked and people don't expect them to be good, so you can build properly in that situation, as opposed to the Nets, of whom people really want to see get it right now. Yeah, it's the pressure on you to be good to a degree because those guys have been talking. Stephen A. and all of them continue to talk. Yes, but you've never lived up to those expectations, so why try so hard to live up to them now instead of doing things correctly, which may leave you bad for a couple more years, but it'll leave you in a much better position to build something extremely strong, especially with the cap space that you just created to pay Jalen Brunson. I think it would be a blessing in disguise if Jalen Brunson just stays in Dallas, leaves them with that cap space, whether they like it or not, and then they can find ways of getting rid of Julius Randle's contract if that's necessary with the cap space they just created. Now you're willing to take back a couple contracts, maybe take back something that isn't as desirable so that you can unload that contract and then further create even more cap space. And then when guys like Jason Tatum come around, Zion Williamson come around, guys like some of these bigger players that are going to be coming down the pipeline that you're going to want to have your hands on. Luka Doncic may be coming around. These are guys you're going to want to have $200 million in hand ready to give to. And if you're giving them to Jalen Brunson and Dejounte Murray, Dejounte's had some injury issues, you know what I'm saying? Jalen Brunson's yet to prove himself. If you max them out and leave yourself with that as your core, I am not certain that you're going to get even far enough to make that make any sense in the short term. And in the midterm, those guys are going to be on contract. I guess they learn to work together just fine. I don't think the fit is bad, but just when you got two guards on max contract in 2023, you understand that you're building the wrong way. Let's just be honest. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. You need wings in this era. You need big people in this era. If you're not 6'8", 6'10", 6'9", whatever. Now, Dejounte Murray, he can fit that mold because of the style of play that he can play. He's interchangeable. I can put him at the 2. I can put him even at the 3 with his arm length and his ability to defend. You can get away with it. But Jalen Brunson's a smaller guy, and even though I like him defensively, he really does play well from his position. He's not going to be a problem. That right there, again, we're talking about how much they represent on the cap. Those are $200 million guys, basically. Well, no, of course, Dejounte, we gotta walk that back because his contract is at $15 million. Remember, 3 years, so it's not a bad contract. The problem is he gonna want an extension. One good year playing well for your Knicks, he get that team playing well. He gonna want his money. Trust you me, he ain't gonna want to stay at $15 million, especially in that market. So, and if you guys continue to make bad decisions or anything like that, he gonna want out from under that because it's gonna feel like a log jam. Because he's not gonna have the ball in his hands as much in theory, although it doesn't have to work that way necessarily because he is a pass first player and Jalen looks to score. So, I mean, like I said, the fit's fine. Given the fact that DeJounte's at a lesser price, he's not at $100 million, I gotta work that into my equation. So yeah, I mean, hey, for the short term, you might be able to put something good together given the fact that DeJounte's contract is pretty solid. I just don't understand why the hell San Antonio would want to give that up, and most importantly, why they would take any package from the Knicks when they can shop it for better. So that's going to be the problem the Knicks run into. I don't know if you can land Dejounte Murray because I think he has better suitors. He really does. So all in all, as you know, I like to break things down in real time. I don't like the Knicks' vision that much because I do believe that ultimately they still have a lot of things they need to get that I don't know how the heck they're going to land if they can't unload even more salary to land it. Judging by what they're going after. I think if they were thinking like I would want them to think, I would be trying to add players that can complement RJ Barrett defensively. Wings that could kind of play like him, but not like him rather, but kind of do things he doesn't do defensively, etc. Have more interchangeable pieces, his height, just like everybody else is trying to put together. Because once you go up against Boston, if you can't switch everything, you're getting beat. Go up against Toronto, can't switch everything, you're getting beat, etc. And I just don't know that the Knicks are in a position right now defensively to look any good in their front court if Mitchell Robinson isn't 100% healthy. Now, when he's healthy, they got one of the best rim protectors. But his conditioning comes and goes very frequently. He only plays well in spurts throughout the season, and then ultimately he goes down. This is just consistent. So you need another rim protecting, shot blocking big to be interchangeable in that way, in my opinion. Now, we know they had Jalen Duren, but they did not value him properly, and they shipped him off to create this cap space, which I know they will live to forget. But nevertheless, that is what they did. So as I look at what they're trying to put together, Dejounte Murray, Jalen Brunson, I'm like, all right, I look at your bigs. Let's just assume they're not able to move Julius Randle. He's not a defensive big. He's had good defensive moments, but he's not a defensive big. Obi Toppin, let's say you're able to keep him. Not a defensive big. He's also scoring the ball. So you're looking at those guys like, okay, well, if you don't have that rim protector, they're not stopping the Giannis's. They're not stopping, the Bancheros and all these people that are coming at you with full force. They're not. You don't have the defensive players in place to maximize what you're going to be putting together in those max contracts as guards. So let's say you were Cleveland, I feel a lot better about your situation because I know you got them two stilts down there. In Allen and Mobley, but you're not in that position. I'm looking at offensive forwards, offensive bigs, and just one guy who's gonna block shots all day long. So yeah, you're setting them guards up for failure, man. You're setting them guards up for failure if you don't find defensive wings to help them. Um, and again, where's RJ Barrett's money? Who's paying this guy? Are you guys sending him to San Antonio? Is that what the plan is? Because he does need his money. Are you trying to ship out Julius Randle to San Antonio? If so, why does San Antonio want that contract? I would not know. Then again, I don't know what San Antonio is doing right now. All in all, that's pretty much my take on the situation. I want to break that down in real time, trying to look at it. I think a lot of people are ready to swallow the whistles in regards to bashing the Knicks if they're bringing Jalen Brunson and Dejounte Murray together. I think that's interesting, so long as they have the bigs. That's it. It's all about the bigs. So if they can find him, maybe unload Julius, maybe bring in somebody like OG Anunoby. He's not a big, but he's a defensive guy. That makes sense to me if you're able to do something like that. I don't know if that would be possible at all, but that's what I would want to do. Bring me somebody who can be long, lengthy, and just rebound the ball, be disruptive. If that's the case, DeJounte Murray, Jalen Brunson, whoever, Robinson, you're looking pretty good, man. So that's okay. That's okay. You'll make the playoffs. Those two guys will probably be all-stars. Maybe that's good enough for the Knicks. Still gonna get beat by Giannis. Still gonna get beat by Philly. Still gonna get beat by Milwaukee, Miami, and all these young teams that are coming up. They're gonna push you out the way too. Charlotte got a big now. You got to deal with them. They got Mark Williams. So good luck. I think the Knicks are hell-bent on putting together what they're putting together. The vision ain't bad. You putting some youngsters together, it's a very good thing for a timeline, but just remember, you're putting together two guards, and you got to build the rest of your team with the rest of your cap. Good luck. BDL 44. Thank y'all for watching.